The other thing I wanted to touch base on is because you and I were talking also recently about all these DTC companies, so direct to consumer, and I actually wrote an article in our company blog about the growth at all costs, how these companies just basically try to spend all the money and then trying to figure out how to get the audience and all that. Well, there's two companies that just...
Well, I wrote about one on Tuesday, on this week's newsletter. By the way, if you want to subscribe, e-commerce Edge weekly newsletter, go to mgredge.com/join. But yeah, so I wrote about Brandless and how...
Brandless is actually the name of the company.
Basically, in the newsletter I wrote that I listened to an interview with Tina Sharkey, who was the founder and CEO. This was in 2018, and I was just like, this doesn't make sense. They sell stuff for $3 and online, okay, which anybody who's in e-commerce says, wow, they're making money with selling stuff for $3. They weren't. And they have like generic items. It's literally brandless, and they're going to compete directly with Amazon with nothing unique. Their products weren't unique at all. It was all like private label stuff with just a brand, and they raised 200. I was wrong in my newsletter. I wrote 230 million. That was what they got from SoftBank. They actually raised a total of, I think, 290 million or something. And they launched in summer 2018, and here we are, winter 2020, literally 20 months, and they blew through almost $300 million, and they're out of business. That's... I wrote that this is why strategy matters, and I said that this strategy was all wrong, and I saw it 2 years ago, and I didn't think they would blow through the money this fast, but they did.
But what do you think is the? In my point of view, if I'm an investor and I don't see a viable chance for that company to survive, I don't invest, which means if other people don't invest, that company never even gets off the ground.
What happens they now? Thought it would work.
Yes, but based on what? I mean, there's.
They liked this idea of, these guys are going to try to take on Amazon, and they look at Amazon with $1 trillion market cap and say, if this company,
do you know how it'll take to? I mean, how much effort and intelligence and money will take to take on Amazon? Amazon, first of all, didn't just start overnight.
No, okay. I know. So
I
think they look at
Amazon
it as,
started selling freaking books. And
they look at it as, okay, if this company can take on Amazon and just be a $10 billion company, and we invested at a valuation of $500 million, that's a 20x return. That's how they look at it. Now, like I said, when I heard this strategy, I was like, wow, really? And so many people were applauding them. I was like, I don't see
Well, but that's just because the market is so frothy these days, as far as there's so much cash out there that investors are just feeling like, I want to be there too, or like almost like the Invest in Me Too movement, like saying, I need to be there, I don't want to miss out. But as an investor, you always need to act as if you didn't have enough money, as if every dollar you have is the last dollar you're going to get. So when you have that mentality and saying, okay,
yeah, but that's the problem.
Well,
there's way too much money right now.
I know, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, that a lot of these companies that are just getting all these huge investments in the hundreds of millions of dollars with basically no good projections or business plan or proof of performance or nothing, they're doomed to fail. I mean, it's obviously easier to play.
They're not doomed to fail. I wrote in my newsletter, basically what I said was, the core idea of basically creating this alternative to Amazon that doesn't have all the negative parts of Amazon is good, but the strategy behind it was completely off. You know, I wrote like a bullet list of things they did wrong, and I'll kind of just summarize it real quick. They started with hundreds of SKUs. Hundreds out the gate. Do you know how hard it is to start with hundreds of products at the same time at launch? I said, if they wanted to, they should have gone with 5 to 10 really good products and focused on them. And then they tried to compete with Amazon on price and convenience, which I don't care if you have $240 million. Amazon is $240 billion, okay? You're not going to beat them on price and convenience.
Which other companies are trying to compete with Amazon right
now?
The
only other one is Walmart, basically.
Exactly. So you have Walmart, you have Target, you have on the electronic side Best Buys and all that stuff. Those companies are barely competing with Amazon. They're just trying to get their .com situation in place. And those guys have mega huge physical retail stores that are competing with Amazon that doesn't have any, for the most part, except for the little bookstores and all that stuff. So if the big giants and established companies like Walmart.com and Target.com and all these other companies are having a hard time competing with Amazon, what makes you think that a little startup with a brandless brand and all that stuff is going to do it? You know,
they also went with this idea of the companies that are able to compete with Amazon and not sell on Amazon's platforms are the ones that have some type of exclusivity about their brand, their product, their customer experience. They had the opposite. They were literally brandless. They were generic. They had generic bottles and packaging and everything, and it was super minimalistic, and there was nothing exclusive about their products. It was basically private label stuff that you could get on Amazon too. The only thing they were competing on was price and convenience. But they didn't have Prime. They didn't have free one-day shipping. They didn't.
It's not like Amazon is expensive. It's not that Amazon is not convenient.
Right. That's
so
my
you're
point.
trying to fight
That's
on the
my
two
point.
key factors that make people go to shop on Amazon.
That's my point. It's like if you're in the ocean and you see a shark coming at you, the wrong idea is to try to outswim it, okay? You try to punch it in the nose or do something that you have an advantage. But trying to outswim a shark is basically what they did.
Yeah,
and that's why they failed. And I saw this coming a long time ago. I didn't think they would blow through the money that fast, but they did, remarkably. Congratulations to them. $200 million in 20 months. That's a tough thing to do.
I don't actually feel bad for the investors. Fuck them.
And I don't mean to bag on the Brandless team. Listen, I'm sure they had a lot of smart people. Some of their design actually was really nice and elegant, and I'm sure those people will find good jobs elsewhere too. But strategy matters. You cannot just say, oh, we're DTC and throw a bunch of money at it and expect success. Strategy matters.
DTC more than anything, strategy matters.
DTC,
you're trying to bypass established businesses that will sell your products. So you're trying to do that. You cannot just say, I'm going to sell direct to consumer, because consumers don't even know about you. So unless you have a very good strategy to get to the consumer and to prove to them that you are a viable option to another product that they used to buy at a normal store, and you can sell directly to them, unless you offer that, and that means obviously price, convenience, and a host of other factors, it's going to be very difficult. So you don't do that just without money. I mean, money is one factor, but you need to have many other factors.
Honestly, these days is actually the easiest factor. There's way too many companies that have a ton of money.
Which brings me back to my point about it. You need to invest as if every dollar you have is the last one you have. And then say, is this dollar really going to make me 2, 3, 4 down the road? If not, sorry.
That's really the problem too. Because if there was another company that right now, instead of having 200 million, had a 2 million startup capital, and they said, okay, but we're going to start with 10 really good products, and we're going to try to compete with Amazon in these ways, but this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to have 10 awesome products that are super exclusive that you can't get on Amazon, and we're going to try to bootstrap it and find ways that really work and squeeze every dollar. That's a company I'm interested in, not a company that raises 200 million and says, oh, we're DTC. DTC is a tool. Okay, it's as much as we work with DTC, and I'm a huge fan of DTC and an advocate, it is just one methodology. Okay,
it's a choice. I mean, it's a technique. It's
one methodology,
right?
But there's many,
right? And even within DTC, you can approach it in different ways, like we discussed. You can develop your audience first, and then create your DTC brand, or you can create a DTC brand and then the audience. Or
one of the ways that I've been actually talking to more companies about is actually using DTC as a launching point, but then even like Casper is doing right now. Casper started DTC, and they're one of the most famous. But now they're in retailers. They're selling on Amazon too.
But trying to make some cash because they are also losing money, as we documented.
And using DTC as a launching point, where you say, okay, we're gonna build a $5 million revenue base on our site, because then we can take that and go to retailers, because shelf space is very competitive too. And so you can go to these retailers, hey, we do $5 million on our website, okay, direct to consumer, and this is why we should be in your store. So when it's between you and the other Joe with the same exact product most of the time, because all these products are very similar, that's how you get on the shelf. And DTC is can be an accelerator of growth and profits, but it is not the only tool in the toolbox.
Well, DTC, the biggest advantage I see also is that when you have a unique product in some way, or a unique aspect of your product, whether it's the deliver at home or like the Dollar Ship Club and all that, what you do is that you get enough of a head start towards your competitors that by the time they try to catch up, it's too late, and you already have that audience built. So everybody thought Dollar Ship Club was going to be impossible to compete with Gillette and all that stuff, because Gillette basically dominated the marketplace of razor blades and all that. But they did, and they ended up being bought out, just like you said, because for a company like Gillette, it's better to, or Unilever in that case, it's better to buy the company that create their own infrastructure. It's too big for them, or too small the amount, but too big to create, too big of a change.
By the way, just one note on the razor industry. I cannot believe that Harry's deal got rejected by the FTC. They're worried about a monopoly in razors?
I know.
What? That's one of the most competitive industries. I see razor companies popping up every day. In fact, P&G just bought a woman's razors company, Billy, the other day.
Right.
Like you said, Dollar Shave Club. There's so many of them.
Schick is the one that was trying to buy.
Right. Schick was trying to buy them.
And they basically said, we're going to move on. They don't want to keep pursuing it. Yeah.
That.
And they both said they're going to move on their own. So basically,
well, there's some type of lawsuit, I believe, going on.
I think, maybe, but
like Harry's is suing Schick. But I mean, I don't know. It's a bad situation for both sides. They wanted to do the deal. Schick was going to appoint the Harry's founders as the head of their entire consumer products divisions, in charge of, I think, the Schick razors, but then also I think they own Banana Boat and other brands like the Banana Boat sunscreen and other brands, and they were going to be in charge of all of them.
Yeah.
And so it's just a bad deal all around. I can't believe the FTC denied that. I mean, I don't know. There's some conspiracy theories about that Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, is friends with Trump, and Gillette sponsors the Patriots. I don't know.
I'm not going to get into conspiracies. Let's just say that the deal didn't go through. I mean, I don't know if